Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. We have a lot to discuss today. Number one, the data dump came for Andrew. You're not going to believe what all this showed. Number two, Meghan Markle's attorneys went to court. I've got all the documents for you where her attorneys are trying so hard to get Samantha Markle's case thrown out. Plus, of course, we have the working royals and all the coronation stuff. So there's a lot to cover today. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. To start with, we know that Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, and her husband, Timothy Lawrence, went to New Zealand and they met with Dame Cindy at the Governor General's house of New Zealand, and a lovely picture was released. Way to go. Next up after that, she went and visited the Beehive Bunker. We know that Cyclone Gabrielle hit right as Anne was due to go visit New Zealand, and so the plans have changed about the different places that they were going to go and see, but she did go to this place. For those who are unaware, this is the National Crisis Management Center located below the Beehive. It's been operating since the Auckland anniversary floods and is the central coordinating center for the response to the cyclone that hit the area. As is typical for Princess Anne, she's keeping on. Even though their regular events that were pre-planned out were canceled, of course, as I told you yesterday, there's always something to do, somebody to visit, somewhere to go. This is what I love. Now, after that, she dressed up in this gorgeous yellow outfit and she attended a service of remembrance. I'm going to try to say this without butchering it, at the Pukehu War Memorial in Wellington, and she laid a wreath there. And she was there with, and again, I hope I say it right, the Right Honorable Dame Cindy Kiro, who is the Governor General. And as I told you guys before, Anne is the Colonel-in-Chief of the New Zealand Army Royal Corps of Signals. You know, I find these articles about her funny because you know what the article was saying? She's quintessential Anne. With the hair, that's her signature hairstyle. She's been wearing it that way for I can't even know how long. They were talking about her outfit. She's stylish. And like her mother, she was carrying a black purse. And that her makeup was light except for the red lipstick, which is something that the Queen used to do. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, she's just like her mother. She is just like her mother. She is devoted to her service and her work as her mother was. And why shouldn't she be? And again, the whole talk about her husband who goes with her on all of these trips and who stands beside her and supports her during all of these trips. After 30-something years, I do think he should be officially recognized. Remember, we discussed that before. She put out a lovely statement for them. And there's more to come this week. She's got a few other stops to make. And of course, I'll cover them as they become available. Okay? All right, let's move on. All right, you guys, here we go. Once again, I showed you this article that Prince Andrew was hoping that unsealed papers will demolish Virginia Giuffre's reputation and give him a chance to overturn the settlement that he made, that he was forced to make by the royal family. The Queen asked him to do it because all the attention was being taken away from the Platinum Jubilee. I always said I thought he should fight it. Well, let me tell you. The documents are coming out, and the first thing is she detailed in paperwork that her story has changed 6 times, and in one of the documents, she clearly says that she never slept with Prince Andrew. What have I told you guys before? All you have in this life is your credibility. Once you've been proven to be a liar, it's over. And I've told you before that she was caught perjuring in legal court documents where she said previously that she'd slept with, presidents and heads of state, only to turn around later on and admit that she had lied. So we knew that there was going to be explosive stuff in the documents, but I don't think anybody realized just how explosive this was going to be. Now, there were 2,024 documents, way too many for me to copy them. So we're just going to take a look at the ones that have been highlighted on Twitter. Oh my goodness. As I showed you yesterday, in her changing stories, she's saying now she never slept with Prince Andrew, to claiming that, she did with Alan Dershowitz, which of course she's now said she's made a mistake. Here's one of the documents. This is the kind of stuff that makes me sit back and go, you know what? This may be good for Andrew. It's amazing. This right here even says, since the motion, a substantial amount of evidence, some from the plaintiff's own pen, that are allegations about having been forced to have sex with prominent individuals are lies. And here's a perfect example. She's been promising since 2011, including to the FBI, to produce the original photograph and has never been able to do it. If the photographer was Sharon Churcher, remember her, the woman she was bragging to about how she was going to make the money? If he claims he saw the original, then why was it never handed over to the FBI? Do you guys think she's a compulsive liar? Look at this letter she got when she was terminated from one of her jobs before she moved to Australia. If you look, she had missed multiple days, arrived late, cold and sick, and she told them that she was... the engine fell out of her car, her axle broke, and her boyfriend repaired it at roadside. Her landlord tossed out all of her furniture and clothing out in the front yard and set it on fire. These are some of the excuses she gave for not showing up to work. The woman wouldn't know the truth if it hit her in the face. In the meantime, Alan Dershowitz is dancing around, pointing out that the document dump proves that he had nothing to do with this woman. Good for him. All right, moving on to the coronation. All the coronation stuff is coming out. There's tea tins and cups and all kinds of stuff. The stuff that I would be purchasing if I was in the UK. I may have to ask somebody in the UK to buy that for me and hold it until we get there in September. Because my goodness, the memorabilia, that's going to kill me. All right, here we go. They're saying that Charles and Camilla's first official portrait as king and queen was spotted by a eagle-eye fan who happened to notice in the background. Now, this photo was seen in a burgundy frame with gold detail. It was taken while Charles was meeting with the president of Ukraine. The photo looks like it's Charles and Camilla in the outfits that they wore for the state dinner that was held at the London Palace when the South African president Cyril Ramaphosa came to visit. That's what it looks like. Now, we know that whenever heads of state visit or whenever the royals go to visit some place, they usually exchange portraits as gifts. So this might have been a copy of what was given to the president of South Africa. It's a very nice portrait. Why not put it in your office? And it would be nice, though, if they released the official portrait, because that is the first state dinner since the Queen passed. We know that there's going to be another portrait put out as soon as the coronation takes place. That'll be the quote unquote, I'm air quoting, official portrait. All right, moving on. All right, now let's move on to the lawsuit. A lot has happened. Again, Harry and Meghan seem to think that because they are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that somehow they can influence what's going to happen in this trial. I don't believe that. This is the United States, not the UK. Nobody cares about those titles. Nobody gives two rips about them. That's the truth. But we know, because of what happened in the UK court system, we know that Meghan swore she had nothing to do with that book in sworn court documents. And then come to find out, that wasn't true, was it? Meghan Markle doesn't want to get anybody deposed. She's trying very hard to dismiss this case. They went into court. I'm going to discuss what happened while I show you the pages from the documents that was put in the motion to dismiss. You guys can freeze and read. It is a very interesting read, okay? So here's what happened in court. Meghan's attorneys said that Florida law excluded all statements in Finding Freedom because Meghan isn't the one who published them. So they weren't hers. And therefore, the court should dismiss. So Samantha's lawyer stood up and said, first of all, she collaborated with Finding Freedom, which is more than just providing information. She handed the information to the authors knowing that it was going to be printed. Then Samantha's lawyers brought up the docuseries Harry and Meghan on Netflix and says if the case isn't dismissed, they're going to supplement with defamation that was stated in the show. Now, or they're going to file another lawsuit based on the statement from Netflix. Now, Samantha's lawyers they seem to be struggling a little bit. I'm not going to lie. They were struggling a little bit because they said that there was a problem with Oprah's transcript. It wasn't there. They were trying to argue things that were in the Oprah show. And then Meghan's attorney stepped up. And so Samantha's lawyers said, listen, we never claimed the words in the complaint were exactly what Meghan said in Oprah. And the judge said, well, if it isn't important in the defamation case to have the exact words that were spoken. And then he said, it's not the strongest case in the world. So when it gets down to it, the primary argument for Meghan's lawyers is Meghan gave opinions, and opinions are not defamatory. In other words, at the graduation ceremony, she said that it was 15 years before, not 19 or 20 years before. But remembering the wrong time you met someone isn't defamatory. But bringing up the fact that they changed their name back to Markle, when in truth it had been changed back to Markle 15 years earlier, that is. And Samantha's attorney even said that words are defamatory when they subject a person to, and I'm quoting, hatred, distrust, ridicule, contempt, disgrace, and injure their reputation. And in this case, we have it all. Now, not too long after that, the judge said, okay, stop, because we have to look now at the second part of the lawsuit, which is the injurious falsehoods. Now, I've given you those pages. You can freeze and read as well. The judge is not making a decision today, just so you know. She's going to issue a written decision. I cannot believe that case would be dismissed. I'd be shocked if it was dismissed. If this goes to court, I think that Meghan's going to end up worse than Amber Heard, honestly. Let's see what happens. Now, turning our attention back to Harry and Meghan and the coronation and will they or won't they, people are saying that they're trying to destroy the monarchy, that deep down they really don't want a reconciliation. And I happen to agree with that. And I'm saying that because while he's claiming he wants a reconciliation, he's putting more chapters in his book, which he'll then be re-releasing. Meghan's coming out with her book. And it's pretty obvious at this point that what they want is to be able to say, look at us, look at us. They're giving you this whole thing now that they're not going to talk about the royal family anymore. Of course they are. That's why they're going to be at that coronation. When you get down to it, you guys, what it comes down to is Harry is upset because he's not going to be king. He wants to be next in line for the throne. He doesn't like being second. That is what this whole thing is about. Truth is, they need to go because they need Netflix content. Truth is, if they go, nobody will discuss anything with them beyond the weather. Truth is, they will be separated, men sit on one side, women on the other. And the truth is, they will be seated far away from the senior royals. So this whole thing of Harry and Meghan are undecided of whether they're going to go. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. The truth of the matter is, Harry has painted himself into a corner, big time, because he has demanded an apology for his wife. No apology has been forthcoming. He kept saying the ball is in their court. They haven't responded. And it's like, well, what do we do? What do we do? He's concerned that it's going to be toxic. He's concerned that they're going to be treated badly by the UK people, that they're going to be booed, that they might actually have things thrown at them. And you know what? That is a real possibility. That's absolutely is probably going to happen. They're going to show up. If they thought the booing at the Platinum Jubilee church service was bad, wait till they get on to the coronation. And also this article came out that's saying that Harry was afraid to face his family. Again, he should be afraid to face his family after everything that he said. Absolutely. And now it's coming out, since the palace hasn't responded and given that demanded apology, that Harry and Meghan want a meeting with the royals before the coronation. Harry's like, I want a summit before I make a decision. There will be no summit. They're not going to meet with you. You put yourself in a corner. And these articles are coming out. He's in a standoff with the palace. He's not in a standoff with the palace. He's being ignored by the palace. And it's driving him absolutely insane. Because deep down, he wants to be at that coronation. Deep down. And now he's put himself in a bad position. I don't think he's going to be able to get out of it. He's not going to get the summit. He's not going to get his apology. But the royal family sent the invitation so that they couldn't use it as more fodder saying, look, we didn't get invited. So now Harry's like, okay, what do we do? Do we just forget about it and go show up anyway? You know what I mean? He's definitely painted himself into a corner. Oh, well. And it's being said that Harry isn't brave enough to make a fuss. And I happen to agree. I don't think he'll misbehave. I think he'll show up, he'll sulk in a corner, he'll bitch about the family, and they'll move on and they'll go home. And, you know, this whole thing about they're not going to talk about the family anymore, that's been their entire bread and butter. I don't believe it. I think they will continue. Just my opinion. Well, I'm going to end this by showing you guys what Unlikely Bot pointed out, that you know, it's not just his family that he's blaming, it's the UK. He says that he never criticized the British public. But here's what he actually wrote in his book. He said, I love my mother country and I love my family and I always will. I just wish at the second darkest moment of my life, they'd been there for me. And I believe they'll look back one day and wish they had too. No, Harry, I think you got that backwards. You're going to look back one day at everything you did and you're going to hit yourself in the head and go, what the heck did I do? That's what's going to happen. So for those of you who stopped the video and read all the documents from Meghan Markle's case to dismiss and Samantha's case about the libel, I would really like to know your thoughts on that case. Do you think the judge is going to throw it out? Because I don't. That's my honest opinion. So leave those comments, okay? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell. If you've already hit the button, double check and make sure that you are still subscribed. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. For those who have donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.